All right, moving on to the demo of package authoring workflows. Stop sharing my screen.
Yep, I'll start sharing and I'll take you all through the demo. Yeah, so I'll just give a brief on the package authoring workflow. So how it all started. Sometime back, we started looking onto simplifying the package authoring workflow because when you author a package, you basically need to know almost all of the Carvel tools, and that was barrier, and we wanted to simplify that process so that the new and the beginner and the experienced users, if they can come and create good quality Carvel packages. So that is how all of this simplifying of the package authoring has started. And we did a bunch of we floated around a survey where we asked how they envision the tool, and it looks like because everything is happening on the CLI, so the CLI was a way to go even for the package authoring commands as well. And so coming on to the package authoring, so we envision that the package authoring, it's kind of an iterative flow. So where package authors, they already have some Kubernetes configuration, which they would love to package. And once they have the configuration, they will like to template or add some overlays to it, which is an iterative process until they get it in the desired shape. So they will, repeat over writing the overlay or the template part to get it right. So once everything is in place, they would love to make a release of the package so that it becomes distributable and can be consumed uh, by the package consumers. So preferably they want to do it in a automated way, maybe in a GitHub action or something like that, right? And yeah, so that's how we have envisioned it. And now I'll be now giving this in place. So we have introduced a couple of commands on the kcontrol. One is like, so as again, the journey which I have told, the commands are pretty similar in that way. Like we will see to first initialize a package. So when we say initialize a package, what that command will do is it will create the required files, and it will ask a bunch of questions. For example, like where the Kubernetes configurations are there, and a bit more, maybe asking the package name. So once it has asked all those basic questions, it will initialize the required files and the content. And then so as like adding a template or an overlay, that's an optional step. So that is where, but it is an iterative step, and that is where the dev deploy comes in. So we have not fully finalized on the name as of now as a dev deploy, but yeah, but the whole point of dev deploy is that you don't need to have the kapp-controller running on your Kubernetes cluster, but what will happen is the dev deploy command will give you the feel of kapp-controller running. So when you run the dev deploy, it will deploy everything locally in the same way the kapp-controller will do, and you will have your application up and running. So you can also like iterate over your configurations quickly and see that the they are in the correct place and they are getting changed the way we want in the desired behavior. And once everything is in place, all the pieces are in place, we'll see that we'll have a command called kcontrol package release, which will help to release the package. And then you can add those package and package metadata to the package repository, and can run kcontrol package repo release to release that package repository itself. So that is the whole flow. So I'll be demoing that starting from initialization to the dev deploy and to the release. Yeah, and then we'll see based on the time we can do the adding of the package to repo and releasing the repo, or we already have covered it in the documentation which will be coming out. So yeah. So what I have here is a simple app where I am a developer and I want to package my simple app for the distribution, right? And that is the scenario. And what I'll do is I'll run kctrl package init. So what it will
Rohit,
do is, yeah,
Rohit, sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry. Do you mind making the text just a little bit bigger,
yep, sorry.
please? Thank you. I don't mean to mess up your demo. Perfect.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah. So it is asking for the package reference name, like the package name, again, some basic information about how the package name should be. So let me give it demo.carvel.dev. And then it is asking from where it can fetch the Kubernetes manifest. So we have a bunch of options. So this time, because I want to package my own application from my source code, so I'll say local directory. And then it is asking what configuration or what files need to be part of this package. So all of my configurations are present in the config folder. So what I'll do is I'll add the config folder here. And as I was saying, like, it will create the required files. So it has created the package build.yaml and the package resources.yaml. So now if we look into both of these files, package build.yaml, this is how it looks. I'll come back to it later on. But let's look at the package resources.yaml file first. So it contains package metadata, and package install. Again, some of the things are filled with the values provided, which are default values, so they can be changed by the users. Once they are changed, they will stay there, which means when you are releasing the package, at that time, these values, you will see these changed values. So let me change the long description to, let's say, long description. Right. So now we have, I also want to bring attention towards the package and package install. So when we said that you might want to add some overlays or templates and iterate over it multiple times. So how those configurations or how those will be picked up is by the dev deploy feature is via the package and package install here. So dev deploy will pick up this package and package install, and it will try to deploy it onto the Kubernetes cluster. So what I'll do is, so I already, okay, I have it here. So in the config dev, I have build.yaml. So what I want to do is, with the help of, let me hide it. With the help of kbuild, I actually want to build my image, but during the dev deploy flow, I don't want to push my image to a OCI registry because it is still very much in the development space as of now, right? And I want to add, let's say I already have an overlay which will add the resource request and limit, and I want to add this overlay as well. So what I'll do is I'll add the overlay to the config dev folder, and I'll move this config dev folder to be picked up by the dev deploy. So for that, what I have to do is I have to come here and add it in the package of the package resources. Alternatively, what we can do is we can run the package init again and add the config dev. So what it will do is it will pick the values which have already been provided, but we can then make changes to those values. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll run the kctrl dev deploy now. So if I'll do kctrl dev deploy -h, it has a couple of flags. So what -k build will do is it will allow the k build to actually build your binary. And then we have the -l, which is local, so that we can use the local fetch source. Yeah, so we'll be using these two variables. So let me do kcontrol dev deploy -b -l, and my package and package install are present in the package resources.yaml. Yeah, before we move on, one more thing, the package install, it has the service account. So this service account needs to be created beforehand. Otherwise the dev deploy will fail. We'll see that in the next release, we can create the service account. But yeah, today you have to create it manually. So I can show that I already have it. If I'll do kctrl get SA, so I already have the demo service account. So let me just run it. Also, we can run it in the debug mode to see that what is going on, to get more depth in there. But yeah, let me just run it in the debug mode. So we'll see that k-build is actually building. So you can see that here the k-build is actually building the image. Yep, and then it is on deploying that. So the reconcile has succeeded, and if I do kapp-ls-a, so I can see that my demo.app has been installed and everything is there, but I do not have the kapp-controller in this cluster. So this is the part with dev deploy. Dev deploy is purely optional. And then we move on to, so now I have everything in place. So what I want to do is I want to make a release. So what I do is, as part of the release, I want to also push my image to an OCI registry, which is getting created. So that is what this destination implies. Again, the tool will be using kbuild underneath. And also I want to add my overlay. So what I need to do is I need to go to the package build, which we said we'll come back in a bit. Now package build has two sections. One is this app spec section, which contains your deploy and template. And then there is this export section. So this deploy and template will get copied over to the releasable package. So we need to make sure that our overlay is present, which should get picked up by the YTT. And I also want to pick my config release folder. Now the export will, today the package authoring, it will actually, when it is trying to release a package, it will create an image package bundle for you. And what does that image package bundle will include will be defined in this include paths. So we'll add these also over here, otherwise they will not be available to the YTT, right? So now if I go in here and if I look into the kcontrol package release -h, again, one thing I want to highlight is we have this version flag, which is exported so that the kcontrol command can be, the release command can be reused in the automated flow as well. So let's say I give version 1.0.0, then it is asking the registry URL where that image package bundle will be pushed. So let me say, so I'm giving my Docker account. So again, it will run the K build, but this time I'm not running it in the debug mode. So that is why we are not seeing that whole output. But what it will do is it will again build the binary, push that binary now to the Docker registry. So that is what it is doing as of now. And then it will do the image package. It will create that bundle and it will do the image package push. And we see that these are all the content of the bundle which we wanted to include. And our artifacts are created in here. So if I'll do cat of this is the package metadata. So as I said, like whatever the value will change over there, it will stay in your even released package. So this is with respect to the package metadata. And if you look into the package.yaml, so it has this image package bundle, which was created as part of the release flow. And then the paths in the YTT and the K build, and it has also generated the value schema from the values.yaml file, which was present in the config folder. Yep, from this. So the next step is to add these packages and package metadata to the repository. So if we are interested in going over there, we can do that. Otherwise, I can stop here.
Maybe to make this a little bit more digestible, it's probably worth stopping over here. I don't know. That's at least my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. And so we have already raised a PR on the secret gen controller, where this package release, we can see how it is being used in a GitHub action. So I'll recommend all of you to go through that. Yep.
So Rohit, I had a question. You said it's like running cap. It does the same kind of thing as kapp-controller, like in the cluster. Is it like it, or is it literally kapp-controller when you do the dev deploy?
I'll say it is like it. The underlying code is same, but we do not do any resync or reconciliation. So that is not happening. So it is just like one-time deployment, if you can think of doing with the kapp-controller.
That's fantastic. I love the little flourishes. There's little bits like where the kbuild configuration automatically reaches into the images YAML in the bundle. Like you don't have to remember to include that. There's a lot of little things I saw. Like the overlays had both the kind and API version in them. Like it was really neat seeing like all those little easy gotchas are just like covered just by using the tool.
Thank you.
It's cool. Thanks for the demo.
So
here's a quick thought for folks who work on kapp-controller that I just kind of connected is when we do development of kapp-controller, if you're just focusing on that single reconciliation area, right, you could actually now run this thing directly. This is once we combine the CLI and the kapp-controller Go mod. So you can potentially skip the deploying to Kubernetes, right? You can just use the code that you're building, let's say, as you develop kapp-controller. You could also be just executing it directly in the CLI form.
It seems like that'd be especially useful for testing. Like we could pull a bunch of things out of our end-to-end tests. Is that a fair statement, Dimitri?
I probably wouldn't go as far as that, but it probably really depends on what kind of tests you're talking about, right? Because a lot of the tests are exercising the Kubernetes-based flow, right? And we still want to ensure that that's all correct, right? But maybe, focusing specifically on, I don't know, the deploy part or something like that. But yeah, I don't know, just a thought. We'll probably have some further discussions along the way.
Well, and you did say this isn't quite enabled yet because of the way that you all did the depths, right?
Right. Today, the CLI and the kapp-controller controller do not, they have two different Go mods, and I think the plan was always to get them merged together, so it's a single project.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I'll say is we encourage all of you to try it out and share your feedback, because this is an alpha release. So the intention is also to get the feedback and try to incorporate it in the next releases.
So if I grab the latest now, I'll have this. How do I get a hold of my copy of the CLI?
So we will be merging it this week, and we will be cutting a release next week. But yeah, if you really want, there is already a PR up. You can build that PR. I can share that PR.
All right, thank you, Rohit. Any other questions, comments? I did want to say Neil's comment out loud. Neil said, this is really cool stuff. No more, or at least less, manual YAML writing and getting the indentation wrong. So super cool stuff.